I'd like you to imagine your dream life. See the version of you who has what you want to have, feels how you want to feel, and is who you want to be. I'm Brittany Hoops, your hypnotherapist and manifestation coach, and this is the show where I'll teach you to master the full power of your mind, to guide you on your journey towards Destination Manifestation.
Take a step back.
Hey there, travelers. Welcome to another episode of the Destination Manifestation Podcast. I'm excited to be here today and to explore today's topic because I know I say this like every episode, but it's really common. It comes up so often. And I think it's something that us as manifestors that we felt at some point along our manifestation journey. I know I certainly have. I know my friends and colleagues that are manifestation coaches certainly have. I know many of my clients certainly have. And it's this feeling that manifestation can be hit or miss sometimes. Like that you can manifest some things, but not others. That you can manifest that free parking spot, or you can get that free coffee and you're feeling really good. You're feeling like, yeah, I can manifest, or maybe even something bigger. Like maybe you get into your dream school, your dream program. Things are just really going good for you. But then there are these other things, like when it comes to love, or when it comes to money, or when it comes to like those crazy big dreams, like winning the lottery or getting cast on a TV show, where it feels like the universe just simply forgot about you. And it's like you get enough of a taste of manifestation to know that it's real and to know that it works, but it kind of always leaves you wanting more. And then it's kind of like the universe is like, like like a really kind of toxic guy that you're dating, right? Like the universe is playing hard to get with you. It feels like it's teasing you. It's leading you on. And no one wants to be. That is not a healthy relationship. Okay. No one wants to be with somebody like that. They want somebody that wants them back. And I will tell you, the universe is not like a toxic guy that you're dating. Okay. It can feel that way when some things manifest easily while others feel nearly impossible. But when you think about it, like if we're so inclined to use our conscious mind all the time, let's use it here right now. How can that be true? Like it literally can't when we're dealing with impartial, universal laws, universal meaning applied to everyone equally at all times in all ways, right? Universal. And so if you're feeling stuck, even though you're doing everything quote unquote right, and it feels like your manifestations are kind of like some game of Russian roulette, or what's another example? What's that game show? I used to watch it all the time whenever I was sick, home from school. Whammy. Do you remember that show, Whammy? Like manifestation can feel like whammy sometimes, right? Where you win a little bit, and so you're like, I'll spin again. And then you spin again, and you're like, no whammies, no whammies, no whammies. And you win some more. So you're like, yeah, let's spin again. No whammies, no whammies. But then what happens? You land on that little red monster devil thing and your manifestation doesn't show up. It wipes out all your positive momentum. You don't win the grand prize. And so if you have ever thought, why is my manifestation taking so long? Like, what am I doing wrong? And you're pulling your hair out in frustration, I think this episode is going to open your eyes, okay? Let's fix that here today. And why I say fix it is because it's tricky. Like, it's not a lack of knowledge, right? You know how to manifest. You have done it for some things. And so this is very nuanced. That's why it deserves this kind of conversation. It's not a lack of skill. It's not a lack of logical knowledge on your part. It's just that sometimes you've accidentally stumbled into the winning formula where other times you've gotten off course. And the trick is that you don't know what caused what. It's like you're trying to navigate to some finish line, but you got a blindfold on. And so you might end up where you want to go, But if you do, it's going to happen completely accidentally. And I just want to take a moment to normalize this experience, okay? Because in my experience and talking with a lot of my manifestation colleagues, it's kind of every manifestor's rite of passage to have experienced this at least once. You are not broken if this is continually happening to you. Okay. I even remember myself. This happened like literally 12 out of the past 17 years that I've spent, over 17 years at this point, that I've spent studying manifestation. Like, and that is a long time. Okay. I read so many freaking manifestation and law of attraction books. I listened to all the podcasts. I took so many manifestation courses. And I will say, through those first 12 years, I manifested some things. Sure, I did. Like, a major manifestation of mine was falling in love with my soulmate, who's now my husband. His name is Steven. And it's kind of amazing. This past weekend, we actually went on a little weekend trip and we celebrated the fact that we fell in love 15 years ago. We've been together 15 years. And gosh, I mean, if I've been studying manifestation for 17 years, 15 years ago, I was just a little baby manifester back then, right? Like, I remember manifesting him as my soulmate was one of my first major manifestations. I fell in love with him, yes, but I also at the same time fell in love with deliberate manifestation. Like manifesting him was like the first time that I was like, whoa, I can set my sights on something. It wasn't like him as a specific person, but like on the idea of finding my soulmate. And I can create that in my life. I can bring that to 3D reality. And that was intoxicating to be able to witness that, right? And I remember how I did it too. I remember that I created this vision board of the type of relationship I wanted. I think I also scripted it out. And it was kind of funny because I was in this class called Divorce in America at the time, which was an amazing class. If you go to NYU and they still offer it, I don't know if they do, but take it. And they asked us to write a paper, like to write a graded assignment paper of our ideal partner. So it was kind of like scripting happened along with that too. But I mainly remember the vision board. And I created this vision board of the type of relationship that I wanted, right? I clipped out all these magazine clippings of various images, of words that really describe the type of relationship that I wanted and describe my ideal partner. And I got it all looking exactly how I wanted it to. I hung it at the foot of my dorm room bed, right on the side of my dresser that was pushed up against my bed. And so it was the first thing I looked at when I woke up in the morning. It was the first thing I saw as I went to sleep at night, which I will say is kind of funny because without even realizing it, I was kind of doing a little subconscious reprogramming, even just by that simple act. That's not why I did it. I kind of stumbled upon that, but I just sort of thought like, oh, okay, I want to see my soulmate when I wake up in the morning next to me in bed, and I want to see them right before I fall asleep at night. So like, let's look at this vision board until they're in bed with me, right? Until they're next to me here. So, and wouldn't you know, I do that for, I don't know, it was like really quick, honestly, to tell you the truth. It was like a couple months and I manifested my soulmate. I truly did. Like we just celebrated 15 years earlier this month actually last weekend, probably earlier this month by the time you guys are listening to this. And I can genuinely say like not a day goes by where I don't thank my lucky stars for him. I am not exaggerating. Like, he's just my perfect partner. We don't fight. Like I can count on one hand, less than one hand of even times that we've bickered. Okay. And they wouldn't even classify as what I think most people would think fighting is. Like, no, like we get along. We give each other hugs and kisses like 20 times a day. Like most people find it nauseating. I remember when I was on Big Brother, people were like, yeah, why does she talk about her husband all the time? It's like, because he's great. I'm sorry you don't have somebody in your life that you are connected to that much. I wish everyone did because it's an amazing thing to experience. And it's also one of the reasons why I would never do a show like Big Brother again, where I had to be away for so long, because being away from him for three full months just isn't something I'm interested in doing in life. If I have any say over it, right? So it's just kind of amazing. And I share this not, to toot my own manifestation horn, but I share this because when I manifested him, I thought, wow, vision boards. That's the key. Amazing. Magical. Let's create another one. And so I created a vision board for manifesting all these acting jobs that I also wanted because I was an actress at the time. Clipped it all out, hung that baby up, looked at it, crickets, right? And I was so confused. Like, why isn't this working? This worked for me last time. You see, I now know that it wasn't these magical magazine clippings that had manifested my soulmate before. It wasn't the poster board at the foot of my bed. It was something deeper that I hadn't actually learned about yet, but that I had accidentally stumbled upon when it came to my soulmate manifestation. And I just wasn't aware of it yet. I couldn't replicate it again. And that's why manifestation feels so hit or miss. It's not the vision board, folks. It's not the scripting journaling. It's not the breath work. It's not the full moon ritual. Okay? There's something deeper at play than these surface level techniques. The surface level technique is just kind of this little pretty bite-sized, easy to digest manifestation package. Like, that's all it is. And it's also why these traditional manifestation methods, they always leave you feeling really frustrated and that you're like wanting more when you do them. I think that's why I spent 12 years like thinking, oh, if I just read one more book, if I just do one more course, then I'll know, then I'll know, then I'll know. They're snacks. And I think you're ready for the whole damn meal, right? And so you keep jumping from snack to snack to snack to snack, hoping that you'll feel satisfied, but then you end up ruining your dinner along the way. And I don't know why we don't see this conversation happening more in the manifestation space. Honestly, I think there's maybe been one TikToker, I wish I could remember who it was, that I saw touched upon this, that I was like, yes, you go girl, you know what you're talking about. And she basically was saying like, you don't need any techniques. The techniques are just sort of a backdoor way of getting yourself to believe that it's possible for you. But if you just decide to believe, that's all you would need. And that's the level of manifestation she's at. She just decides to believe and then she manifests. And then she decides to believe something else and she manifests that. And so she doesn't need techniques to finagle her way accidentally into that. And I feel like that's why we need to have this conversation, right? I would never want to assume ill intent from anyone, especially somebody who's in the manifestation space, because I really do think that if you decide to make this your career, your mission in life, your purpose is to help people transform. I know I was thinking about that in the shower this morning. Like, what is my mission? What is my purpose? And I kind of updated it in my mind. It was like, I want to guide transformation. And I do that with my clients. I do that through this podcast. I'm doing that through, being pregnant with baby girl. I'm guiding her transformation from non-physical into physical life here on earth. I want to, renovate my home someday. I want to guide that transformation. Like, that is really a through line in everything that I personally love to do in life. And I think a lot of people who get into this line of work feel similarly. So I don't want to suggest any ill intent, but I do think that perhaps there are some people, not all people, but some people, they don't acknowledge the true nature of these surface level techniques, because if they acknowledged it, then they couldn't package all these techniques up and sell them to you and make lots of money. And then once they make all that money, they can come back and say, see, I manifested $1 million. I know what I'm talking about. And I think they hope that if they cast a wide enough net and if enough people sign up for this surface level program, that somebody will accidentally stumble upon the real thing, like I did with my soulmate, and then they can use that testimonial to say, see, here's why it works. And if it didn't work for you, then you are wrong and bad. Although I don't think they say that out loud. But that's the feeling, that's the gaslighting that happens, I've seen in these programs. And, my question becomes, well, what about all the hundreds of people where it didn't work? Well, we weren't seeing what they think about this, right? And, I don't know. I just feel like if that $1 million comes at the price of, your students' dreams, it's not worth it. And I'm very passionate about this. And I know when I speak this way, I ruffle a few feathers, okay? And that is a risk I'm more than willing to take. I am fully aware by pulling back the veil on these practices, I even myself cut myself off from an entire industry that profits from selling them to you, okay? But that is a price I am more than willing to pay, even if it's less convenient. I want you to know what actually works. I want you to know what's actually at play here. Don't be like me and waste a whole lot of money and 12 of 17 years studying this, but focused on snacky frou-frou things. It's a waste of time. But I will say this, let's address why these surface level manifestation techniques do occasionally work, okay? Because I just gave you an example of a story where, I did a vision board and that was the reason and it worked. And I think it's because sometimes you might accidentally stumble upon the deeper thing when you're doing them. That's what happened with my soulmate vision board. I can see that now. But I think the problem with that is that it's not repeatable. And so the through line, the thread that creates real manifestation, that deeper thing that all manifestation has in common is this. It's subconscious mind alignment. And we are not taught this very much at all. We aren't often taught about this. And I think one of the reasons is because I say subconscious mind alignment, and it's not like you're like, oh yeah, I got that. Great. I know what to do. You're like, what? Like, it's harder to understand. It's not as digestible as a snack, right? And I think it's because it's intangible. It's harder to explain. It is much easier for a manifestation coach to tell you, journal, or to say, repeat this mantra 3 times at every meal for 3 days, and you'll manifest $1,000 in your bank account. Ugh, comment, claim now. Which is like nauseating. That's like most of manifestation TikTok right now. And it just makes me cringe. I think why people say that is because that feels really easy. And so most people, they're like, I could learn about this subconscious mind alignment thing. I don't know what that is. Or like, I just need to say this thing 3 times and I can get $1,000. I'll pick that route, right? Most people are looking for the easy route, but they're not looking for easy. Whereas subconscious mind alignment makes it ease. As in the process is filled with ease once you get it. And there's a difference between easy and filled with ease, right? And this surface level thing, it can be packaged in this pretty little algorithmic bow, and you know what to do there. It's simple instructions. And I think why this happens so often and why it's so rampant, especially online, is that if it doesn't work, or I should say when it doesn't work, because very rarely it works for people, you as the listener will hardly remember who suggested it or where that video is now. It's just buried in the algorithm of content that expires every 24 hours, right? There's no repercussions for teaching that nonsense. And the problem is, it's a pretty little bow put on a big old subconscious block. And for some people, it might accidentally work, but for most others, it won't. And if that's the case, then I think you haven't gone deep enough, in my opinion. Okay? Universal laws are called universal for a reason. It's because they apply to everyone in every instance at every time. Gravity, if you were here on Earth and you drop something, you know it is guaranteed to fall. It is a law. Okay? And I think it's really unfair to witness so many beautiful, amazing, capable people like yourself who are doing everything quote unquote right. You know, you got the journal, you lit the candle, you said the affirmation every time you passed a mirror. And so you know all the rules, you're doing all the things, but yet deep down, there's this invisible wall that you just can't seem to break through. And that is downright cruel. I mean, it kind of reminds me of a dog with an electric fence. Like, it's cruel. It's unfair. It doesn't make sense. And that's why you feel blocked and stuck and confused about why it isn't working like it should. You followed all the instructions. I think especially us people who are maybe like good students back during school, we were the teacher's pet, the type A achievers, like we were really good at following instructions. And so it becomes extra devastating that when we do so, and then we do everything quote unquote right, and we still don't get the results that we wanted. It does not compute. And so sadly, I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen hundreds of times. Every client who has a dream that they haven't manifested yet, and so they come to see me, they're struggling with this on some level or another. They've done all the conscious things right. And so that's what I tell them. I say, you aren't broken. And I want you to understand that too. You've just been manifesting from the wrong level of mind. And I hope that if you see even just a sliver of yourself in that it can actually start to bring you some relief, that you can say, phew, okay, I haven't exhausted all my tools yet. There is still a route that I haven't taken yet towards my dreams that is available to me. It's not your fault that you haven't seen the results that you wanted yet. It truly isn't. And I really want to highlight that because it can be really easy to blame yourselves, to take it personally, to feel like you are bad at manifesting. I've even seen some coaches gaslight people to say, oh, well, if you do this and it isn't happening, then you just aren't doing it right. Like, that's toxic, okay? And we can take it sort of personally and feel like we've tried all the things and yet our manifestations haven't come to fruition. And so it's like somehow we're bad. And that can feel really, really devastating. But the truth is, your subconscious mind is driving your results. And frankly, it doesn't care about your conscious desires. I mean, it cares about your conscious desires to the extent that your conscious mind can define, like, here's my goal, here's my dream. And then its role is done. And I think what's interesting with that too, is that you might even assume that your subconscious mind is aligned to your dreams because consciously, you know how bad you want them. You know that you want to believe, you so desperately want to believe that you're worthy and that you're abundant and that you're lucky and this is going to happen. Like you want to believe that, but you feel the resistance in it. And so instead of addressing that resistance at the subconscious level, you try to just play pretend all day that you are those things consciously. And so you end up putting on this mask of what it means to be a good manifester. And you talk to all your spiritual friends at your conferences and you use platitudes and you one-up each other on how aligned you are. I feel like I can say this because I have been to those conferences. I've sat next to those people. Oh my lordy lord. When I went to the Dr. Joe Dispenza advanced retreat, it's just like you kind of sit there and you bite your tongue and you're just kind of like, it's all I can do to kind of screw my eyes to the back of my head so they stop rolling. It's exhausting to keep up the charade. And it's exhausting to witness it and others too, right? Like I feel like I can spot somebody with a conscious mind mask on like a mile away. And it's because it's not their fault. It's because I think some people don't feel safe enough to be vulnerable and to admit and to say, hey, I've been trying my best. I have done everything that I have learned, and yet my manifestation still isn't here because they know the truth of manifestation. And so those things do not match up. They do not compute. I mean, hell, I remember feeling that way. When I experienced pregnancy loss last year, I talk about this in my Manifestation Faith Crisis episode here on the show. I was so embarrassed to be a manifestation teacher and to have yet manifested such awful outcomes in my own life. But I will say this. I will say that I was lucky that I also knew something deeper at the time. My problem was I knew I wasn't using the tools that had worked for me in the past. I wasn't walking my talk when it came to that area of my life. I realized that I had a lot of resistance, subconscious resistance, which, subconscious resistance is the opposite of subconscious mind alignment, right? It's a misalignment. I had a lot of resistance I had to work through at the subconscious level. So I felt like I had to go through that experience, and that going through that experience actually got me back on track. It reminded me to reorient the deeper work. And I mean, I wish I could have caught it in time. I'll tell you that. I ended up having to manifest some devastating results to finally make it click in my mind to get me to go back to those basics, to do and to realign my subconscious mind, meaning I had to, get out of misalignment and resistance and back into alignment and belief. And I was lucky, honestly. As I look at that, I was lucky enough to be able to eventually see that. But for a lot of people, they don't. And it's exhausting to want something so bad, but yet to not have any conscious mind clue why it isn't here yet. I guess the point I'm trying to make is that I was thankful that I knew what was the issue. A lot of people don't even know what the issue is because it's not a conscious issue. And especially when you think that you're doing all the right things, and it can be hard to realize that it's not your conscious mind thoughts that are the problem. If you've been studying manifestation long enough, you logically know what to do. Okay? You could list out, you ask, believe, receive, blah, blah, blah. Like, here's what I need to think. I am great. Like, you know consciously what to do. It's what's wired underneath that is the issue. It's the automatic part of you that you can't consciously control that's been following you up. And so I want you to think of it this way. Like, I want you to imagine if you went into your house and you turned on the light switch, but the light didn't come on. You'd be frustrated. You would look at that light switch and you'd see that it is pointed to on. It is clearly turned on. It should work. But it's not the switch that's the problem here. It's the wiring within the walls. There's a deeper story running the show. So real manifestation happens when you shift that inner, deeper mind. We got to rewire the walls. And we do that through subconscious alignment. That is the thread of all successful manifestations. It's what they all have in common. That is the missing piece in your manifestation practice if there are things that you have yet to manifest. That piece, maybe you've been lucky enough to accidentally stumble upon in the past, but now you're ready to replicate it every single time. Okay? You don't want to accidentally stumble anymore because when you miss that piece, you feel stuck. And most manifestation advice out there is incomplete because it ignores the role of the subconscious mind. But when you achieve subconscious mind alignment, that's when your manifestations, and I mean all of them, every time, finally click. So in order to manifest, you have to enact change at the subconscious level. And that's because, here's what I like to think of it. I like to think of the subconscious mind almost like a portal. Okay, the subconscious mind is the part of the brain that connects you to all that is. It's a channel. And how do we unlock that channel? Well, hypnotherapy is the tool that opens up that channel. It's the key to the portal of your subconscious mind. And so when you go into that relaxed state, when you use that key to open up your subconscious mind, you become open and receptive. You use that key to unlock and open that part of you. And then when you do that, the character of you, your ego, who you know yourself to be, the conscious mind part of you, it has nowhere to go. It doesn't have a role there, so it just sort of takes a back seat. And, I kind of visualize it this way. It's almost like, here you are in your body, and you go into a deep state of relaxation that is hypnosis. That's a key that sort of unlocks. If you're watching the video version, you can see me make this gesture, but it sort of unlocks the top of your head. And when you're in touch and in tune with the subconscious mind, it's almost like the top of your head just opens up. And then you allow this stream of light from the universe to now pour in. And you are connected to the universe, and the universe is connected to you. And it's through this mechanism known as your subconscious mind. Whereas when you're doing all the busy work of all these topical surface level manifestation techniques that are so often taught by other teachers and other influencers, you aren't unlocking the portal. That the top of your brain, it stays shut. It stays locked because it's locked when you use your conscious mind. and it unlocks when you tap into your subconscious mind. And then once you are tapped into the subconscious mind, it is open and receptive. You kind of become like a Teletubby. Do you remember those Teletubbies? I don't know. I might be dating myself. You remember those little freaky baby monster things in that on that show? Well, Google it if you don't know what a Teletubby is. You'll be properly frightened. But they're kind of one of these like baby monsters that have these like antenna-looking things at the top of their heads. Well, metaphorically, what happens when you go into a relaxed state of hypnosis, it's like you turn on your own antenna. You become a receiver. Meaning, when you do that hypnotherapeutic exercise, when you visualize, when you create that mental image in your mind, when you repeat a new and helpful thought that's a match to your desire, a new thought that you want to be automatic to you, it then creates a vibration. It creates a signal. And that signal is sent out to the universe, zing, like it's sent out. And then anything out there in the universe, or what Abraham Hicks calls the vortex, any non-physical possibility out there that is a vibrational match to what you were actively creating in your mind, that signal you were creating, it now lights up to match it. It now becomes activated by the signal that you are sending out. You send out a signal, and there's a potentiality that matches it. And the longer you emit that signal, and the more you practice it each and every day, and you're doing it, it can match it, bring it in. It's kind of like fishing. You cast the line out into the lake, you catch a fish of your manifestation, and then each time you practice hypnotherapy, you reel it on in into your 3D reality, right? And then if you don't do hypnotherapy, it stays where it is. You get back to hypnotherapy, you reel it on in some more. It gets closer and closer and closer until it's part of your 3D reality. That's how you draw it into your 3D experience. Or you might think of it this way. Imagine when you are in touch and in tune with your subconscious mind, it's like you're a lighthouse. Okay? You, in a state of hypnosis, tuned into your subconscious mind, you are the lighthouse. You're sending the signal out, right? You're light. There's the signal. And so my question to you becomes, what ship are you directing home towards you by emitting that signal? What manifestation are you calling in? Are you receiving? Because it will always be a match to the signal that you're emitting. But you have to get your conscious mind out of the way to emit that signal. That's why all these surface level things haven't been working for you, because the conscious mind has blocked it. It's almost like it's put a sheet in front of the light. And so it just looks all dark out there in the ocean. Your manifestation can't find you because you haven't been emitting the signal to find it. And so when you relax, when you enter the state of hypnosis, that's when you're able to do that, because that's the deeper tool that connects you to your subconscious mind. And even more importantly, that just gets your conscious mind out of the way. Both need to happen in order for it to work. So I hope that this sheds even just a little light on the true nature of your power. It's not the toaster's fault if it doesn't work, if you haven't plugged it into the outlet, right? We don't blame the toaster. Instead, I would say, well, just plug it in. That's why it hasn't been working. And I hope you understand now the real reason why manifestation can feel hard sometimes. Because this is a conversation I wish more people were having, more people talk about. Our society is just so married to our conscious minds. Our conscious minds have been put on this pedestal. And so everyone tries to do everything using just that 5% of their conscious minds. But we know there are limits to its power. And surface level, conscious mind driven manifestation will not get you the light that you want. You got to plug into your true power source. So at least, will you do this for me? Will you at least promise me that before you give up on your manifestation, that you will try this? Because if you've made it this far into this conversation, it already tells me something really important about you, right? About you as a manifester. It tells me that you are willing to go deeper. that you were no longer interested in the surface level, that you were here because you just know deep down that you're meant for something more. And I know that too. And I know that that is actually a very powerful place to be. It's a powerful place to create from. Just by realizing that, you're already opening up that portal to a new level of consciousness where you can manifest intentionally rather than accidentally. And so over the next couple weeks here on the Destination Manifestation Show, I sort of want to dive deeper into these truths, okay? I want to explore the real art of aligning your dreams at the subconscious level. We've already done so much of this in the previous 60 episodes, so explore the catalog for more, but we'll continue to dive down this rabbit hole even deeper. So I want you to stay tuned because this is like just the beginning, okay? But until then, I want to invite you to sort of reflect upon where you are at right now, given everything we just talked about, where you're at in your own life and your own manifestation process up until this point, okay? Where you might be relying on surface level action or manifestation techniques when what you truly could benefit from is a deeper shift within. What dreams might you have been putting on pause simply because you felt that you had exhausted all the possibilities? But now you know there's one left yet to try. Where have you been doing all the right things, but from the wrong level of mind? Where might you finally set yourself free by going deeper? Answer those questions because you see, your dreams have always been real. They have always been a potentiality that exists there for you. It's just time for you to meet them on the right frequency. And so let's do that. Let's do that when I catch you in the next episode.
I don't know the way for me to coexist.